Charlie is a good-looking playboy who doesn't believe in serious relationships. He finds himself in a situation where he is mandated to commit to a woman, to test if he'll eventually fall in love. Did Charlie end up falling in love, or does it end up like one of his usual casual affairs? We'll find out. Holly, a girl jogging behind Charlie, runs to him to give him the keys he dropped. It seems like Charlie has a habit of forgetting stuff, so he's very grateful to Holly for helping him recover his keys. After they introduce themselves, Holly finds out that the Charlie she's talking to is Charlie Mack, the photographer she follows on Instagram and Tumblr. Even though Charlie works as an agent, he does the photo shoot work as a hobby. Holly is interested in getting closer with Charlie, so she speaks of someone that may want to do a photo shoot with him. Charlie let her know that the person needs to come over to the studio. Now at Charlie's house, he's seen taking pictures of the lady, who he ends up making out with. A group of friends who have been together since high school are having dinner and catching up, while waiting for the last person to join. Finally, Charlie comes in, but he's with a girl. The face one of the friends, Ginger, shows that she disapproves of him bringing a girl to the dinner. Charlie introduces the girl, Fawn, to everyone. At the same time, Ginger introduces her friend Dana to Fawn and Charlie. She's not happy that Charlie brought Fawn, because she already brought her friend Dana with the hope that Charlie might have an interest in her. They start to talk about Charlie's agency, and he lets them know that he signed Fawn because she's a big Vine star. Ginger calls for everyone's attention and wants to ask a question. She works for Net News and always asks her friend questions for her work. When Fawn hears that Ginger works for Net News, she's impressed and tells Ginger that she always wanted to work there. Charlie even assures Fawn that she could stand a chance there, because Ginger is their relationship columnist. Ginger goes ahead to ask her a question, and the question happens to be, what is your deal breaker in a relationship? Rick answers that he doesn't want to be with someone that doesn't want to have a family, and Pressy also answers funnily. Ginger directs the question to Dana, but Dana believes that if two people in a relationship love each other and communicate, then there would be no deal breaker. Victor directs the question to Charlie, but Charlie doesn't do relationships, so he doesn't have a deal breaker. Ginger is pissed at Charlie's behavior towards relationships, and the conversation becomes quite heated. Fawn and Dana use this as a cue to leave the group, since they're the only visitors in their midst. When the two girls leave, Ginger faces Charlie squarely about his immature behavior and habit of flirting around with girls. Charlie is not even remorseful one bit, and Ginger warns him not to bring any of those girls to her wedding. Still being nonchalant about the whole situation, he even makes a joke about what Ginger said, that he'll bring two and not one. At this point, Ginger spills out the main thing that has been bothering her. She brought Dana so that Charlie could meet her, thinking they'd be a good match. But Charlie isn't interested in dating Dana, because it's against his rules of not dating a friend. Even though Victor doesn't think the rule is sensible, Charlie isn't ready to change it. Since after he gets laid, he loses interest, and he wouldn't want Dana to hate Ginger for introducing her to someone just interested in having sex with women, and not ready to commit. Ginger is quite impressed with Charlie, because at least he made sense in what he just said. However, Charlie is not done. He is impressed because he thought Dana would be ugly, like all the other friends Ginger introduced to him. In the next scene, Charlie goes to Nate's juice truck and orders his usual. Charlie's sister Sherry comes right up. She places her order, before telling him what she feels. She believes he's avoiding having a deep conversation with her, and that's why he chose to meet her at the juice truck. While they're talking, Tammy, one of the girls that Charlie has gotten laid, meets them. Sherry, as a therapist, notices the unusual behavior in the girl and tries talking to her. Sherry gives Tammy her card. The next day, Charlie walks into his workplace beaming with smiles. He is in a great mood. In his office, Charlie meets Timothy, Dallas's protege. Charlie gets down to work with Timothy, and after hearing all Timothy has to say about starting a new project, Charlie just thinks they should slow down a little bit. While Charlie is still having a conversation with his client, Abram comes in unannounced. Charlie goes out to hear what Abram has to say. It turns out that Abram has signed with a big company that has a shitty product, and now he needs Charlie's help to sort out what he has just done. It seems his mood won't be great for long. Charlie is not happy with Abram, and while they argue over the issue, Marty's assistant class says that Marty, the boss, wants to see Abram and Charlie in the conference room. When Charlie walks into the room, he immediately admires one of the women coming out of the room. Marty starts to discuss the tech company, which is the one that Abram just signed for. Marty thinks of their app as obsolete, but still has to do little things with them because of a deal with another company, Mobilo Tech Company. Charlie assures Marty that he and Abram have some plans, but just need time to wrap it up, and Marty gives them till Wednesday. In the next scene, Victor and Charlie are together, and Charlie explains the terrible situation he had to deal with at work that day. He doesn't even have an idea of what to do. Victor then takes this opportunity to talk to Charlie about his annoying boss, and how Ginger kept ranting to him about Fawn, whom Charlie invited to the dinner before diving into relationship talk. Victor still doesn't support Charlie's stupid relationship rules, but then Charlie talks his way out as usual. Rick catches up with them. Charlie wonders how Rick will be able to go one round with a woman, when he can't even jog for a short time. Rick believes that sex endurance is a different thing, because he and Pressy have been having sex more than normal to try for a baby. On hearing that he and Pressy want to have a baby, his friends are very excited for him, but he believes they should not celebrate just yet, because Pressy isn't even pregnant. Pressy and Ginger are shopping for Ginger's bachelorette, but it seems like she doesn't want some of the things that Pressy wants her to buy. They are in the sex toy section, and Pressy lets Ginger know that she also needs to spice up the sex between her and Rick, because making a baby is not that easy. They end up asking a customer who's more knowledgeable about the products to help them out. Meanwhile, Charlie and his friends go to Nate's juice truck, and he orders the usual. While they sit down to talk, he recognizes the woman from Mobilotech company that he saw while walking into Marty's office, and shows her to Ricky and Victor. Victor isn't happy with the way Charlie is living his life, and the only thing he thinks about when he sees a woman is sex. Charlie makes an excuse for himself, believing that's who he is, but Victor disagrees, because he thinks Charlie can be a better person. So they strike a deal. The deal is that Charlie should date just one woman, and not sleep with any other woman for 1 month, till Victor's wedding. If Charlie wins, Rick and Victor won't ever disturb him about committing to a woman. But if he loses, Rick must give the best man speech at Victor's wedding. While they're still arguing over the bet, Charlie's order is ready, and he goes over to collect it. Coincidentally, he meets the Mobilo lady, also claiming the order is hers. Charlie is confused till he sees her name tag on it. This seems to be the perfect opportunity to hit on her. He tries flirting with her, but it doesn't work because she overheard the discussion he had with his friends about her. At his office, Karen comes in unannounced, even after Kareem tries to stop her. She lets Charlie know that she has come to purify his office with the purification app before Aviatia, a client, comes in. Karen complains about Aviatia's recent bad attitude. Boris carries Aviatia into Charlie's office, and this gets Charlie confused. It turns out that her spiritual advisor has given her a list of things not to do, including giving any negative facial expressions, so Karen does that for her. Charlie tries his best to explain to Aviatia that this whole spiritual advisor thing is making her followers reduce, because she's now behaving weirdly. He encourages her, and successfully turns her heart against all the spiritual advisor things when it comes to her career. When Aviatia leaves, Karen appreciates Charlie for what he just did, because it has made her work less stressful. When Karen leaves, Charlie's phone beeps, and it's a text from Eva, another girl, inviting him for burgers and fries. While Charlie and Eva walk out of the eatery, they have a little discussion, and it seems like Eva doesn't want to be in anything with strings attached. They seem to be the best fit for each other. In Charlie's office, he is texting Eva, who asks for his address because she wants to visit. Eva finally comes over to Charlie's place, and just as he goes to get water for her to drink, she's already undressed. They end up making out. No strings attached, as promised. Meanwhile, everyone is facing different challenges. At Rick's place, he bumps into his wife trying to take a pregnancy test in the bathroom, but she sends him off. Pressy is bothered about their unsuccessful attempts in having kids, but Rick believes she's overreacting. He wants her to calm down and wait for the results first, before she panics. They'll see a fertility doctor if it comes out negative. Pressy is happy to hear that from her husband, because she thinks they have a fertility issue that needs to be solved. Charlie visits his sister Sherry at work, and meets French, one of her clients, on his way in. He offers him with a deal as an agent. Luckily for him, French accepts the deal and gives Charlie his number. When Charlie goes into Sherry's office, he offers to take her to lunch, because he made her go outside of her job ethics for him. Meanwhile, Ginger and Victor go for their wedding cake. When they walk in, Victor looks at the price of one cake, and he's baffled. He tries to explain to Ginger that they should go for a smaller cake vendor, but her mind is already made up. At Charlie's workplace, he and Abram finally go to see Marty. It appears Marty's secretary, Chesty, wishes for an office romance between her and Charlie, because the way she tries flirting with Charlie is quite obvious that she likes him. Charlie, knowing fully well that Abram is a very sarcastic person and can be offensive most of the time, warns him not to make a mess of their meeting with Marty, and Abram promises to put on his best. Marty calls for them, and the first thing Adam says is already messing things up. It's safe to say he will never change. But Charlie just ignores him and informs Marty of everything he's come up with about Mobilo's app. At the end of Charlie's intelligent explanation, Marty is impressed. In the next scene, Charlie receives a phone call from Eva. She invites him to lunch. Charlie arrives at the restaurant before her, and has already placed his order. However, when Eva finally comes, she places red underwear in Charlie's palm without saying anything. He immediately understands the message and follows her. They make out in the bathroom. It appears Charlie is not giving up on this lifestyle anytime soon. Later, Ginger invites her friends to share some news with them. When Charlie arrives, Ginger finally drops the good news. She's been promoted at work, with a salary twice what she was earning. Such great news. They raise a toast to her success. Victor goes over to the bar and the guys join him, leaving Pressy and Ginger. Something seems to be bothering Victor, but when he tries to talk about it, he decides against it. Instead, he moves to a new topic of discussion, Charlie's bet. Charlie starts with some sarcastic good news, and they're excited about the man he's becoming, till he sees that his friends can't even decode that he's joking. Victor and Rick feel very disappointed that Charlie has no intention of changing. Soon, Charlie sights two beautiful girls drinking on the other side of the bar. He sends the barman to give them another round of drinks and pays for it. His friends are shocked at what he just did, despite their bet. However, Charlie claims he's preserving the girls for after Victor's wedding, because once the bet is over, he'll go back to being the typical Charlie. At work, Abram and Charlie wonder what must have brought Marty downstairs to their offices. As they are still contemplating, Marty comes in. The three talk about the French Montana deal, and Marty shares his thoughts on how it should be handled. The whole idea doesn't seem to sit right with Charlie, but Marty is not willing to change his mind. Charlie has no choice but to go with his suggestion. When Marty leaves, Abram shares his thoughts on the issue. Abram perfectly understands Charlie's point of view, but advises him to do what Marty says, because that's who they work for. However, Charlie doesn't want French Montana to think he signed him up just for his company's benefits. Later, when Eva comes over to Charlie's house, she can't help but ask Charlie what's wrong with him. This is because he didn't do the usual thing of trying to take her clothes off right as she enters. Unwilling to share, he just tells her very little of what's bothering him. Eva isn't even interested in whatever problems Charlie is facing. She's just there for the sex as usual. In the next scene, Ricky, Charlie, and Victor are on the beach in a bid to ease out some stress. It seems Victor is so stressed that he still doesn't feel better. It happens that Victor is worried that he can't afford his wedding. Still, he can't allow Ginger to pay for it just because she got a huge raise at work. While they're still discussing, Ginger texts Victor, and they all start to leave. Charlie, being who he is, thinks getting a sugar mummy isn't a bad idea for Victor to come up with wedding funds, but Victor won't do it. Even when Rick shares the promise he made to Pressy about visiting a fertility doctor, the unserious Charlie has another opinion. He thinks visiting a fertility doctor won't solve the problem, and he jokingly advises Rick to change the kind of underwear he puts on, because it's the cause for his poor squirt. While his friends have real-life issues, Charlie seems to be the only one without a burden. Rick and Pressy finally visit the fertility doctor. He discovers that his sperm count is high, and this makes him excited that he is not the problem. But this makes Pressy think he's rubbing it in her face that she's the one with fertility issues, and she takes it personally. Rick tries explaining that it isn't his intention to make her feel bad, but she angrily leaves without him. Meanwhile, Eva and Charlie's relationship is just all about getting laid. She's at his house again, opening up a small gift box just after they had sex. He's surprised, because they agreed on no strings attached, when he learns that the gift is for his birthday. She wants him to wait till his birthday before he opens it. Charlie wants to take pictures of Eva, but she refuses because she doesn't want his Instagram followers seeing her face all over his page. Charlie promises to shoot it in a way her face won't be recognized, and she agrees after he strikes a deal with her to publish his works for sale. Could it be that she is hiding something? We'll see. After the shoot, they head back to Charlie's house. Even though Eva didn't want to go in because she has to work the next day, he still wants her to come in. And from one kiss to another, she's in his house already. They're both so lost in their romantic moment that they don't even notice Rick standing there till he makes a sound, making them scream in fear. Eva leaves immediately. Initially, Rick is not willing to talk about why Pressy did not allow him into the house for the night. Later, Rick eventually let Charlie know what caused the fight between him and his wife. Charlie surprisingly gives a positive statement about love. Rick is surprised, and also impressed with his friend. Rick believes the girl he met Charlie kissing earlier has gotten to him. But Charlie, being who he is, claims that it's the tequila that has gotten to him. In the next scene, Charlie, Victor, and Rick are at a boutique, trying out clothes for Victor's wedding. Victor, the happy groom-to-be, keeps admiring and hyping himself that Ginger is getting married to the best man. Seeing that he has taken over the mirror, Charlie goes to use another mirror, and he meets some ladies there. One of the ladies compliments the suit. Thinking he is the groom, she talks about how lucky his fiancée is, but he immediately lets her know he's not the one getting married. He is just the best man. Then something surprising happens. Charlie sees Eva wearing a wedding dress and is shocked. He walks up to her. However, her friends don't have any idea that they know each other and just think he's admiring her. Charlie is still staring at her when Rick comes over and sees Eva too. It appears he has been played, or not. After all, there was no commitment in their relationship anyway. Charlie's mood dampens, and he leaves the boutique. He even forgets that the jacket is still on him, till the seller reminds him. He then throws it off. Charlie just goes off to drink away his sorrows. He acts like one who is heartbroken. Arriving home, he meets Eva at his apartment. It seems Charlie has fallen in love with Eva, even though from the beginning, they made it clear to each other that there'll be no strings attached, and that what they are having was just fun and nothing more. Eva reminds Charlie of everything, but it appears Charlie lost track of the fun and mistook it for love. That's what makes him broken. In the next scene, Charlie is late for the meeting with Marty. Just as Abram is about to go out to check on Charlie, he comes in. Marty knows Charlie isn't very comfortable about the deal, but while he's trying to convince him, Charlie surprisingly asks for the paperwork and stands up to leave, saying he'll have French sign it. Abram and Marty are surprised at his sudden change of heart, but Marty is happy. It's a win for him. Charlie gets home from work and meets a surprise birthday cake and his friends waiting for him. However, the goody and nonchalant Charlie is not who they see, and they're all shocked. Victor and Rick are unable to get him to talk. Instead, he lashes out at them. Charlie's head is messed up, and he's unleashing his frustration and bitterness in a very bad way on his friends. Pressy leaves angrily, and her husband follows. Charlie kicks Kareem out of his house, and Ginger and Victor eventually leave too. Sherry meets Charlie to find out what the problem is. She understands that he's heartbroken because of Eva, but that shouldn't be a reason for him to lash out at his friends. Charlie feels fooled by Eva and is full of regrets. It seems this whole thing has messed him up so badly that he also lashes out at his sister. He is afraid of losing his friends to their relationships, and is scared of committing to one of his own. Wanting to be alone, Sherry eventually leaves him. Meanwhile, French is over at Charlie's office to sign the deal. However, when Marty gives the paperwork to French, Charlie tells him not to sign it. French is confused about what's going on, and Charlie informs him of the better deal that they kept away from him. This shocks Marty, especially since Charlie agreed to make French sign the paperwork. Angrily, he fires Charlie. At this point in his life, Charlie is just a waste. No friends, no family, no job, and no Eva. He goes downstairs and sees the gift box that Eva left for him the last time. He opens it up and it turns out to be a camera. This, at least, makes him smile. In all this loneliness, he finally goes to visit his parents' grave. Charlie meets Sherry to apologize for the jerk he's been. Sherry, as a therapist, gets Charlie to talk to her even more than he planned to. She feels happy that her brother got heartbroken, which means that he has the capacity of loving. Since he has already made up with his sister, he decides to also meet his friends to make things right. He meets his friends rehearsing at the park, where Victor's wedding is to be held. Pressy is still mad at him for his behavior. After they walk down the aisle, Charlie wants to start apologizing to Victor, but he tells him to keep it for later. When Ginger walks down, she sees Charlie and punches him in the stomach before the pastor commences. Well, he deserves it. After the wedding rehearsal, Charlie still tries to talk to Pressy as they eat. At this point, she announces the good news of her being pregnant. She jokingly informs Charlie that he has to do free babysitting for her kid before she can forgive him. They are so happy for Rick and Pressy. In the next scene, the real wedding is on, and the pastor joins the couple. After the wedding, Charlie gives the best man speech, and does it excellently well with tears of joy. 8 months later, things have changed for the friends tremendously. Pressy is heavily pregnant, while Charlie has opened his gallery. It's his first exhibition, and his friends are there to support him, being very proud of him. Soon, Charlie spots French and goes to meet him. He learns that French now works with Abram and Kareem, who are also in attendance. Abram resigned from Premier Edge shortly after Charlie got fired, because he wasn't also comfortable with the way Marty was running things. French offers Charlie money for him to be his agent, but Charlie doesn't want to do agency anymore. He is rather interested in focusing on his photography and his gallery. French decides to buy his most expensive work, as an appreciation for what he did for him back at Premier Edge. When all the other guests have gone, Eva comes in. She announces her presence when she says she didn't receive any payment for Charlie using her picture. Seeing her, Charlie didn't say a word initially. He is super surprised. While Eva goes around the gallery, they talk about her married life and how different and challenging marriage is. Charlie can't help but ask Eva why she is there for his exhibition. It appears she heard about it from her husband. Eva apologizes to Charlie for how things ended between them and explains the reason for her actions. Eva and Kevin have been dating ever since high school, but when it got to time for marriage, he became nervous about making the marriage decision. Then Eva decided to test the waters with Charlie while waiting for Kevin to make his decision. She wanted to know if he'd go on with the wedding or not. However, Eva doesn't regret all the time she spent with Charlie, but she's just sorry that she ended up hurting him. Meanwhile, Charlie doesn't want to be seen as a pity case, so he believes she should not apologize, especially since what she did taught him a lot. At peace that she has been able to sort out their misunderstanding, Eva smiles and leaves the gallery. Charlie goes to the juice truck and he meets Dana, Ginger's friend. He remembers not seeing her at the wedding. He learns that she was out of the country and just got back 2 days ago. Charlie asks her to sit with him, since she didn't come with anyone, and they start a conversation. He remembers that she did not have any deal breaker for a relationship, and wants to know if she does now. She also asks Charlie if he still has all his rules, but he boldly and happily lets her know he has gotten rid of them, and they cheers for that. It appears that Charlie will be a perfect match with Dana after all, just like his friends are with their partners. Eventually, it takes heartbreak for a playboy to discover what love means again.